Hello again, language learners. Welcome back to another exciting lesson in our Think in English series. I'm thrilled to have you here as we continue our journey towards training your brain to always think in English, avoid translating, and become more fluent English speakers. In today's episode, we'll explore an awesome technique, and that is using visuals to boost your English language skills. Before we jump into the new technique, let's quickly recall what we learned in our last lesson and about speaking out loud. It's an essential part of our Think in English series, and if you need a refresher, remember to visit the YouTube link over here or in the video description below. Thinking in English and speaking our thoughts aloud. This practice is like giving your thoughts a voice in the English language and stopping your brain from translating from your native language to English. Thinking aloud while describing your surroundings is actually about letting your thoughts flow freely and naturally in English. Plan your day. Talk through the plans for the day in English. This activity helps you organize your thoughts in English, use future tenses, and work on time-related vocabulary. Now, let's talk about method 2, using visuals. It's an exciting way to boost your vocabulary and help your brain naturally think in English. By using pictures and sentences, we'll create a strong connection between words and their meanings. Today, I'll share with you 5 simple tips for using visuals. 1. Build mental connections. 2. Use flashcards. 3. Practice with sentences. 4. Think in chunks. And 5. Engage all sentences. Build mental connections. When I talk about building mental connections, I mean linking English words with images or ideas in your mind. For instance, if you hear the word mountain, you can picture a tall peak covered in snow. This mental image helps you understand the word without translating it. When you hear birthday party, visualize colorful balloons and maybe a cake with candles. This helps you directly connect the words to the celebration. When you encounter the phrase busy street, imagine a street bustling with people, cars, and noise. This connects the phrase to a crowded urban scene. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those are easy words and phrases, yes? How about complex, abstract words, right? But building mental connections is also a powerful way to grasp abstract words without resorting to translations. Let's say you were reading and listening and heard the words subsidy and spoof. By looking them up in the English dictionary, you learned that subsidy means a sum of money provided by a government or organization to support a particular activity, project, or industry. A spoof is like a funny copy of something. It's made to make people laugh by pretending to be like something else, but in a silly way. Now, because they're complex, you might be tempted to further understand their meaning using a bilingual dictionary. But stop yourself. Build that connection first in your brain instead. Here are my suggestions for these words. First, visualize the concept. Start by picturing a simple scene that represents the abstract word. For the word subsidy, imagine a person giving financial support to a struggling friend. This creates a mental connection between the word and its meaning. Use analogies. You use an analogy when you compare something you're learning with something you already understand. This comparison helps you understand the new thing better. So, for the word subsidy, think of it as a financial boost given to help something grow. It's like when you give a plant water to help it grow. Similarly, a subsidy is like giving something or someone money to help it grow or succeed. This links the abstract idea to the concrete image. Create associations. In your mind, associate the new word with a well-known image. For the word spoof, for example, imagine a comedian imitating a famous actor in a playful way. This association will remind you of the word's meaning. Include emotions. Sometimes adding emotions can help you remember. For subsidy, imagine the relief on someone's face as they are receiving financial help. This emotional connection aids your memory. Use context clues. When you encounter the word in a sentence or paragraph, pay attention to the surrounding words. If spoof is mentioned in a funny context, it's likely related to humor or something funny. Use flashcards. Flashcards are a way to bypass writing down translations. On one side, you write an English word, and on the other, you draw a simple image related to that word. If you are bad at drawing, you can copy and paste images from the internet. This way of learning trains your mind to associate words directly with visuals. Flashcards create an instant link between the image and the English word. This trains your brain to think directly in English rather than translating back and forth. It also enhances your memory. The visual element adds a memorable aspect to the learning process. Your brain retains the connection between the image and the word more effectively. You learn words in context, which is how native speakers use language. This helps you understand nuances and usage patterns. So how do you use these flashcards to train your brain to think in English? Okay, so let's say you have your subsidy and spoof flashcards. Start with the subsidy flashcard. Look at the image and say subsidy out loud. Think of an example sentence using subsidy. For instance, the government provides a subsidy to encourage clean energy production. Now flip the flashcard to check if you got it right. Move on to the spoof flashcard. Look at the image and say spoof out loud. Create an example sentence using spoof. For example, the comedy show included a hilarious spoof of a popular movie scene. Check your sentence against the back of the flashcard. If you do this tip for every new vocabulary you learn, then repeatedly drill yourself with them every few days, every week, or every month, the time will come that when you hear the words, you'll immediately think of the visuals you created for each of them and accurately connect the meanings. Spaced repetition is the key. Take note that you don't have to limit yourselves to physical flashcards. It might be more helpful to use digital flashcards using apps like GoodNotes or Anki. Now, flashcards are also a handy tool for our next tip. Practice with sentences. Practicing with sentences alongside visual aids has several benefits for you. You learn words and phrases in meaningful contexts, similar to how native speakers use them. Constructing sentences also helps to reinforce grammar rules and sentence structures. Lastly, creating visuals and sentences engages your creativity and active participation in the learning process. So, how do you do this? First, choose a word or phrase. Select a vocabulary word or phrase you want to work on. Let's say diverse. Next, create a visual. Draw or find an image related to your chosen word. For this word, I'll choose an image showcasing people from different cultures and backgrounds. Then, craft a sentence. Write a sentence using the vocabulary word. For example, the city's population is incredibly diverse, representing cultures from around the world. Finally, combine visual and sentence. Place the image and sentence together on a flashcard or digital platform. By associating the image and sentence, you'll remember the meaning and usage of diverse in a real-world context. Create new visuals and sentences regularly to expand your vocabulary and practice different sentence structures. Review your visual sentence combinations daily to reinforce your memory and understanding. Alright, so far we have discussed the detailed 3 out of the 5 ways to use visuals. Build mental connections, use flashcards, and practice with sentences. We can bypass writing or thinking of translating English words by forming images or pictures in our mind, creating pictures in word flashcards, and practicing with sentences alongside these visual aids. Let's move on to the last 2. Think in chunks. Instead of focusing on individual words, learn single blocks of language. Imagine them as chunks. When you learn and memorize new words, think and write down other words that often appear with them. We call these collocations. Form visuals in your mind of collocations. For example, instead of just bringing up images of words like meal, soap, plain, exercise, or pain, think in chunks like a quick meal, bars of soap, plane took off, regular exercise, and excruciating pain. A quick meal might make you imagine a clock racing against time. The hands of the clock are spinning rapidly, and a plate of food magically appears in front of you. With the word excruciating pain, you might picture a person with a pained expression on his face, clutching the body tightly and tears streaming down his cheeks. Engage all senses. Engaging your senses means involving more than just images. It means using all the ways that you experience the world around you to help you learn and understand. We have 5 senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. When you imagine that you see, hear, taste, smell, and touch English words and ideas, your brain remembers them better. It's like making learning a fun adventure, and you'll be amazed at how quickly you start thinking in English. Let's say you're trying to remember the meaning of ocean. Do not only imagine the waves, but also hear their sound, feel the sand under your feet, and even smell the salt in the air. Understanding crisp apple involves imagining the crunching sound, the juicy taste, and the fresh scent of the fruit. This gives a full sensory experience. Soft pillow evokes the touch of a comfy pillow, the idea of sinking into it, and perhaps even the smell of clean linen. This combines different senses for understanding. Congratulations on taking the step to improve your English skills through visuals. Our Think in English series is all about helping you to become a confident English speaker, and these methods are designed to guide you along the way. I hope it's clear by now that visuals like pictures and drawings are like languages that everyone can understand. They connect ideas and what those ideas mean directly. When you link these pictures with English words, it helps you skip the step of translating in your head and lets you understand things right away. This is really important to thinking in English, so keep combining the 5 ways I suggested to you, namely to build mental connections, use flashcards, practice with sentences, think in chunks, and engage all your senses. Then you'll see remarkable progress in no time. Thanks for joining today, and I look forward to continuing our journey together in the next lesson. Until then, happy learning and keep thinking in English.